You're listening to
But First, a Big Brother podcast.
Hosted by superfans
Nick,
Praz,
and Jill.
You are leaving the Big Brother bubble, so please put on your mask and go straight to the empty chair you will see 10 feet away from me. By a vote of 9-2, Janelle, you are evicted from the Big Brother house. I love you. Nice. Looks great.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to But First. It's been a rough week for all of us, I can say. Nick, are you doing okay?
please come back to me.
Okay, I'll jump
Okay,
in there.
Jill.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. We'll talk about it throughout the episode, but I feel like the power of Janelle is actually like making me feel better in a way. I know that's weird, but she's the best, and I'm trying to embrace her vibes in these post BB22 world of her tenure. But yeah, so just excited to get going.
Yeah, I would say, hi, it's Nick. I do feel better knowing that she is so positive in all of her exit interviews. And, you know, when she was just kind of saying like, okay, well, Memphis, good on him. Like he played a good game. She's not going out of there sour or bitter or like trying to burn the house down. And I'm excited to see her tweets and posts of what she does throughout the rest of the season. So I'm okay. I'm really, really bummed. I'm hopeful that like Kaser can at least do something. So we shall see. It's really weird, but you know what? She was too good for this season. She was playing with a bunch of children there, and as she has said in a bunch of her interviews, she's like, I walked in the house and I didn't see a single all-star. So on a lighter note, you guys, we have a special guest this week, a fellow podcaster, host of Two Gay Mats, and the star and creator of a wonderful new film called Devos. Everybody give it up for Matt Steele.
Hello.
Hi, Matt.
Welcome.
I just want to say I am thrilled to finally be on a Big Brother podcast because you can ask my roommate Matt Palmer, who I co-host Two Gay Mats with. You know, we go through different news events of the week and everything, and I just so desperately want to talk about Big Brother. It's literally the only thing I want to talk about, but I know that I can't because we have to keep moving on to different topics and everything. So I try to like rush through all of my Big Brother commentary for the week on that podcast, but I'm so happy that I'm here and I can really just give a deep dive into my thoughts and talk ad nauseum about the only thing that I care about during the summer, and that's Big Brother.
You're in the right place.
Yes, so thank you. I appreciate it.
Matt, what's your history with Big Brother? Have you watched every season?
I have watched, I started watching Big Brother season 2 back in 2001, and I've watched every season ever since. And I even went back and watched season 1 a couple years ago. That's a journey, let me tell you.
Yeah.
That's 70, that's like 70 episodes, I think.
Yeah, it was on like every night.
Yeah, it was on 5 nights a week, but only for half an hour. And most of the episodes were literally just, these are what the house guests are doing today.
Yes.
They're eating tacos. Like it's really, it's nothing like what it was.
That's
Or
where
something like
George got his name, because he was like raising chickens in the yard.
Yeah, they had chickens.
Yeah, I feel like it was more of like a utopia vibe almost, like wanting them to like start a new world or something.
Yeah, it definitely started out as more of like a social experiment type thing.
Yeah.
And since, you know, the internet was brand new, Julie Chen would bring in these guests who were like, in quotes, internet experts and everything. And they would talk about what the viewers would comment on the feeds, and the internet expert would be like, they say things like, Chicken George is so crazy, LOL, which stands for laugh out loud in internet speak. Like it was just so bizarre. And then, you know, once a week, someone would get voted out by America.
Right.
I think the feeds were on AOL that season.
Well, I mean, everything was on AOL. I feel like AOL was the internet, you know? So,
That's true. I think it's so nice to have a guest who's like such a huge. We're all Big Brother fans, obviously, but I think I really relate to your story of just like wanting to talk Big Brother all the time and struggling to find people who want to other than Nick and
yeah.
Jill. So
I always tell people that the Big Brother fans, like, first of all, when you find them, it's a weird it's like you can't pick out a Big Brother fan out of anyone, but once they admit they're a Big Brother fan, you're like, oh yeah, you are a Big Brother fan. Like it's like a certain type of personality that you're just like, oh yeah, you would like Big Brother. But I also always tell people, they're like, oh, I should, when I talk about it, they're like, oh, I should get into it. And I'm just like, I just want to let you know, like, this is dedication. Like, Big Brother
yeah.
fans are dedicated. It's on 3
Mhm.
nights a week. You got most people, well, not most people, but like a lot of people, the ones worth talking to, are like following the feeds, and they're like, it's all they think about during the summer.
I know that's the hardest thing is like getting people to commit to that. And that's why it's been a struggle for me. And I was hoping this year, with everyone being trapped at home anyway, that I'd be able to like get some more friends involved in the Big Brother world. And then eventually, they'd subscribe to CBS All Access and catch up on the other 21 seasons. But like, I don't know.
Yeah,
No one wants to. I force my husband to watch, and I mean, he enjoys it, but it's like, it's a struggle.
I know. I tell people all the time. They're always like, "Oh, maybe I should watch it." I'm like, "No, no, no! Don't watch this season. Go back and watch this season, then watch this season, then watch this season." And then I give them the whole breakdown of like, "Well, if you want really bad gameplay but really good drama, then you tune into season 11. But if you want like or it depends on what you're looking for." And
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
like,
Season 11, the season that gave us Kevin.
Oh,
hey, season
well,
11 had amazing drama. But
it did.
literally no gameplay whatsoever, but amazing drama.
So Matt, what are your two favorite seasons? Like maybe one from the older school game of play, and then maybe one newer one.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Favorite season of all time is absolutely 6. Like 6 is
Okay.
just the
Jill.
crown jewel of Big Brother. I mean, you could also say 10 because 10 had amazing characters. I would say 10 had like probably the best casting. And just the most amazing drama mixed with such like incredible gameplay. The only reason why I put 6 above 10 is that 10 for like the second half of the entire season, you knew that Dan was going to win. So I tend to not be as tuned in when it's kind of predictable what the outcome is going to be. That's why I absolutely despise 16. I think 16
Ugh,
is the worst
yeah,
season that the show has
same.
ever had. Not only because it was so predictable, but because it felt so manufactured by, the producers and everything. Out of the new seasons, did y'all watch Big Brother Over the Top?
I did.
I didn't. I missed
I
that.
did not.
Big Brother Over the Top had the best casting that the show has had in a while. It was a different casting director. But also, I don't know what the show was like if you just watched the episodes, because they only had like
Right.
one episode a week that they like crammed
Yeah.
everything in. But if you followed the feeds, it was absolutely thrilling because the house was so divided and the fans were so divided. So that was really fun. But out of the newer seasons, I have a very controversial opinion.
Uh-oh.
I think season 15 was absolutely incredible. Like take out
Take out the racism.
the racism. Like,
Yeah.
obviously there are reasons to dislike a number of the house guests, but I think the gameplay in season 15 was amazing. The
Agreed.
drama was unbelievable, and to me it's the most unpredictable season that the show has kind of ever had. Like you really had no idea where it was going to go.
Mm.
And I think a big reason was because they got rid of all the alpha males right away.
Yes, that
And
was
that's
so good.
why it's so good. That's why it's so entertaining. I don't know. We've had a couple nice seasons recently. Like I think season 20 had an amazing pre-jury set like era, but then after like jury started, it became and level 6 just dominated everything. It was just like insufferably boring.
Yeah.
I think last season had a bad pre-jury era, but then the second half I thought was very entertaining.
I can't. I have to disown any like reference to BB21. I just think that I just think that they're all guilty by association, that cast, and except for like Kemi and Jessica. I just, I wish we could expunge it from the record.
Wow.
I liked season 21. I think after the whole day 44 fight, which was like unbelievable, I watched all 3 hours of those feeds of the day 44 fight. I think it was just like, oh, I'm absolutely on board with this season now. Like, it was just, and as unlikable as Jackson is, I refuse to call him Mickey, as unlikable as he was, he played a damn great game. And I think Nicole was just so winning and darling and, a good person to root for, even though she didn't win.
I think these are all valid opinions.
Except out of all of the controversy that season gave us, I think the worst thing it gave us was David on All Stars.
That's a good point.
God.
Good segue.
Yeah.
That man has no reason to be on All Stars. At first I was like, oh, that's cool. They're giving him a shot. But he refuses to actually play the game.
Well, he's trying to play in this horrible way. I mean, it was hilarious this week how he literally was like, I don't think I'm like playing this good game. Like,
no, bless his heart.
He's almost like the unplanned saboteur.
Ooh.
Well, but that's also kind of why, not that I say like, oh, I have like high hopes for his gameplay, but that's also kind of why I'm thinking maybe it would be interesting to see him stick around for a few more weeks, just because he could start throwing, like, his bad gameplay could start throwing wrenches in other people's games. Like, he kind of threw Tyler under the bus this week.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely here for a Tyler downfall. Like, I like anything that can just blow that alliance up, I'm ready for, and I desperately want. So it's kind of like, yeah, let's like throw David in there to give some chaos. Like, I'm all for it. It's just his way of going about it is kind of just like, it's a little just like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. And all these other people, they think they're playing me, but they don't know what they're doing, but I know what I'm doing. And it's just like, David, no.
Yeah, he's like a bumbling cartoon, like a Mr. Magoo or something, who like always ends up on top, but like ruins everything.
Yeah, and he kind of like, it's like he wants to say things that are like deep, and he wants to like act like he knows all the secrets, but he really doesn't. And so his conversations with Janelle and Kaser this past week have just been so painful.
Kaser was saying last night, he's like, I don't know what's up with David, but he speaks in code, and when I ask him what he's saying, he refuses to tell me, thinking like I'm in some alliance trying to get him out.
Because he doesn't even know what he's saying. He just like, it seems like he just wants to sound smart.
Even with like his own allies, Davon and Bailey, like he talks in circles with them, and you can see it's really wearing on them. And I think they're reaching the point where they're ready to just like cut him. And
I also feel like there was never any solidifying of the fact that they were in an alliance. It was more like Davon was trying to protect him, but they never had like an honest conversation of like, let's work together, at least to my knowledge, or maybe they did on the feeds. But it was very strange that like, like Bailey's in the middle and she's like, you guys trust me, but you don't trust each other.
On Thursday night's episode, I was intrigued by how much airtime they gave the Davon Bailey storyline, and Tyler and all that stuff. Because it was like such a, this night of Janelle and Kaser, and they gave so much. And I was just wondering, is that because it was just, there wasn't actually that much gameplay this week because it was like they're just going to get rid of Janelle? Like, why do you think they gave it so much airtime?
I think they gave it so much airtime because they wanted to really position it as, because knowing that Danny and Enzo were going to vote for Kaser, the story would have been, oh, they're flipping the house because Tyler feels paranoid about David and wants to have a bigger target in there, and they can go after David. To me, that was what the story that they were trying to build. Plus, they were showing that like that David just like is a rookie.
Yeah.
Well, I also think they probably put that in there because this every single week so far has literally just been, there's a target, and the person who is the target just campaigns and campaigns and campaigns and campaigns, and campaigns and gives great valid points and is doing a great job campaigning, but because no one in this cast has any, balls, shall we say?
Yeah.
They're just such lame players that it's like talking to a brick wall. So I mean, I guess they figured, what are we going to show? Janelle campaigning and people being like, well, if you can get the majority, then I'm on
Right.
board. Then, like, do we have 10 minutes of that? Or do we have
Right.
10 minutes of something else that's pretty interesting and is a little dramatic,
Yeah.
So and as much as we wanted the entire episode dedicated to Janelle and Kaser and their friendship and everything, like, honestly, if the whole episode was just a hit looking back on the history of Kaser and Janelle's friendship, I would have been on board.
Me too.
That would have been
But
fun.
but I guess they figure this cast, they're just duds. They're not. That's what's so horrible about this season is like, and about the players in the past several years in general. Like, they have people who don't want to make any moves whatsoever. Like, there's no negotiating, there's no campaigning, there's no nothing.
All what the house wants. We have to respect the HOH's wishes, and I don't want to get blood on my hands, and that's why I'm nominating like Kevin. Like,
Yeah.
it's very frustrating as a viewer. It's the reason why this All-Star season is kind of a dud and a steamroll is because of the past seasons of casting. This is a fluke of, oh, this is just because like the people we chose. These are the people they choose every season. And then when they're in sequestered, they show them specific seasons, like Eric's season, to say, this is how you play Big Brother. Instead of showing them season 8 or All-Star season 1 or season 6 or 15, like they don't look for people that are actual game players. They look for people who want a showmance, who are 25 and under, and like have never really seen the show. Everybody hops on the show and they're like, oh yeah, I've seen it, but they've only seen it because they were shown it in sequester.
Yeah.
They actually don't watch it, and that's always been my biggest problem with the more recent seasons. Is they're just young people who aren't there to play. They're there for Instagram followers. They're there for a summer showmance. Or they're there because like, oh yeah, like I think it would be fun. Whereas, that kind of dividing line of like BB15 and before were people who were like diverse in ages, diverse in gameplay, and there were a bunch of little different alliances, but you could still cut a deal. Like if Janelle came out to me and I was in the house and she's like, if you save me, I will keep you safe. And I will also vote with you for 3 weeks. And here's my wedding band. I'd be like, cool, give me that wedding band and let me see what I can do. Like, and it's very, very annoying as a viewer and as a fan of gameplay for people who are just like, well, if somebody wants to save you, like I could hop on board as your sixth person.
I think if you look at Janelle's campaigning, and I mean, she really tried this week, and I have to give it to her. Well, going back to what you were saying about just the casting and all of that, I don't understand how it isn't apparent, like so apparent to everyone in the house, everyone in production, that is it a bad sign that the most favorite person on this cast appears to be someone who originally was on the show 15 years ago? We've cast a ton of people from seasons since then, and no one is causing the reaction that Janelle still can, even so many years later. Which brings me to, now that we know there's basically no buyback, there was no way that CBS and Big Brother were going to try to get her to be able to stay, and she's home now. I'm just starting my campaign for her to be America's favorite, because I just would love for her to beat all of those other players, like third evicted, and to still get America's favorite this year.
Oh, absolutely. It's also really interesting too that all the first evictees, not only have they been women, but they've all been America's favorite players.
Yeah.
As a gamer, you have to think, like, okay, gee, if America has the opportunity to vote in some special powers, wouldn't you want to align with the people that America likes instead of Enzo?
In was it season 15, Matt?
With Alyssa, where they weaponized her.
Yeah, they weaponized her. Yeah. And
but that was the smartest thing they did, and it carried them through to like halfway through the season. I feel
and then
and
then Andy just snipped her off, framed her and snipped her
yeah.
off. Like, so like it's very well. The thing is, like, they don't even know that most of that house doesn't even know that Keisha was America's favorite because they
Yeah.
don't
they
know
don't
the
know who
history
she
of the
is.
show. Like,
It
there's
is.
so many
Yeah.
episodes, there's so many clips on the feeds of someone mentioning, oh, Keisha was America's favorite, and she was like so such a dynamite, like, firecracker in the house her season, and Tyler and Cody are just like, oh, was she? Oh, I didn't know that. Something I have to say about I want to give Nicole credit for. Like Janelle, she did not stop campaigning until the very, like, Nicole was someone who I was like, oh, she's the target. She could easily like just be like, lie down and be like, oh well, I'm going home. But like, even her week, like, she campaigned and she campaigned and she campaigned, and she had logical point. Well, when she realized that Janelle and Kesa were actually her friends, which was unfortunately the very, very last minute. It was like 5 a.m. the night before, and I was watching. But like, she still like didn't lay down and die, but the cast was just like, no, we have to go with the
What
house.
the
We have to
house
go with the house.
wants. And
It's like, oh my god.
and it's like, if you are not, and that, it's also unfortunate that there are like Venn diagrams of giant alliances, because if you are Kevin voted for Nicole to stay, but like, if you're not part of this alliance, or you haven't had a conversation with Memphis about like gameplay, why do you want to do what he wants just because it's what the HOH wants?
And another thing is, they were trying to get Christmas. They didn't know that Christmas was in this big alliance, and Christmas was like getting angry with them, and she was just like, guys, you're telling me to put myself in this horrible position, like, in the first 2 weeks, and like, how's that going to make me look to other people? Like, you don't know who I am. And it's kind of like, Christmas, lie, like,
Yes.
like, go in the diary room, vote to keep Nicole, and then go back to your alliance and say, I don't know what happened.
Yes.
Like, who did that? Like,
Yes.
that's the whole, that's what you do on Big Brother.
Yes.
And
But lie.
now everyone just tells each other everything now, because
It's
they
so
want to be a part of the big alliance of cool kids, and so everyone just sort of tells each other everything. So there is no lying, there is no scheming, there is no backstabbing. It's just like,
which is why I need to be on Big Brother 23.
Okay, we're starting the campaign now.
That's the second campaign that we're running.
Yeah, we are very into causes here on But First. So first was, making an email template to email CBS to keep her, and now it's making everybody vote for Janelle for America's favorite player, and then next is going to be following my journey of getting on Big Brother 23, so that I can bring back gameplay and being a manipulator, and not worrying about being best friends with everybody behind their backs, but of course in front of them being like, oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I don't understand, like, especially that whole some David conversation he was having. I was like, just lie. What are you doing?
Lie.
Lie. Like,
Yes, I know.
If they were like, who told you that? Say Nicole, because guess what? She's not there. They can't confront her.
Yeah. And honestly, I think whenever Big Brother has like a season that's like disappointing to fans or whatever, they always kind of like the next season try to course correct. Like, after season 15, that's why we got and after like the PR disaster that was, like, that's when they were like, okay, season 16, we have to get people who will do exactly what we want them to do. Like, they'll be cute in the diary room. They will like all behave. Like, that's, I like season 15, they had people who were just like, oh, fuck what CBS wants us, like, we're gonna do our own thing. And so they found that and so then season 16, they were like, okay, we're gonna cast people who are very sort of like even keeled. Like, the only crazy person really was Devin, and it was so sad that he left so early, because he was just an agent of chaos. You need more like Devins in there, like Devins, or like BB20 Caitlyn. Oh, what a perfectly cast human being. Like, the fact that she left so early is devastating, because she was just chaos, pure chaos. She put up her own alliance member in the very beginning. That's why the first half of Big Brother 20 was so good, and why the second half was so boring because level 6 was just like, yeah, we just win competitions and we are
and they
loyal to each
tried
other.
so hard. They tried so hard to keep Caitlyn. The best tweet the other night was,
Yes.
"Where's Chanel's 6-piece puzzle?"
Yes. I love how whenever something is rigged, like clearly, you know that producers want things to go a certain way, and they put something in there that rigs it in someone's favor. People are like furious, and they're like, "This show's rigged." But then when Janelle's in trouble or like
Yup.
Nicole's in trouble,
You're
you're just
like,
like, "Wait, rig it!" You're like, "Rig it for Keisha! Rig it for Keisha!"
I know. All the tweets are like, Ms. Allison Grodner, I know where you live. Like, do not bring up this.
It's like, come on, you rigged it for Rachel all those times in season 13. You can rig it for Janelle once, okay?
I just think at this point, like, the producers really need to do something, because the fact that this alliance has been steamrolling, it's just like they got to get in there and do something.
Yeah, this whole alpha guys, it's just never really fun to watch. And like, yes, you can argue that like, oh, Danny and Nicole are part of it as well, but like they haven't done anything. They're just voting. They're not winning anything.
I do think Danny has been somewhat annoying, but that one segment they did on her this week about like, how she kind of like is manipulating all her alliance members in a way, and like, makes me think, maybe she is playing a good sort of villain character, and I do think she's going to make it far.
She is playing a good game, but I still think she might be playing a little too hard. And I think people are onto it. I think because she's protected on so many different sides, and I still think they're gonna let her, like, they're not gonna go after her anytime soon. But I think eventually she's gonna get cut.
I think she's not playing too hard. I think it's the fact that nobody else is playing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Like she's playing hard, but like
she's playing regular. She's playing what she should be. She should be doing what she should be doing. She's doing what she should be doing.
And the thing that the interesting thing about Danny is she's a Big Brother super fan.
Yeah.
She was talking on the feeds the other night, and she's like, Julie doesn't ask us questions anymore during like the live evictions. And Nicole was like, that's dumb. I hate when she does that. And Danny was like, that's Big Brother. That's fun. And like, they were like, no, Danny, that's stupid. Like, and Danny was talking about her eviction message for Janelle. She was like, so this is what I said. Janelle, you're a legend. You're the queen, but I had to see you go. Don't worry. Kaser's going to follow you. Bye-bye, bitches. And Cody and Nicole were like, that's he was like, no, that's an homage to what she said. And they were like, what? Cody literally goes, what's an homage?
Oh God. I cannot handle Cody. Like, I can't.
But Danny knows where, like, her past. She actually even bought Janelle's Big Brother All-Star Season 1 dress.
Yes.
And wore it to her finale. Like,
yes, she's crazy. I love it. Like, I love the game that Danny's playing. Even though she's the villain, she's playing the villain up, and she's doing like what we want a player to do. Even though we're mad that she got Janelle out, like, at least she's doing it. She's doing the thing.
And I will say, though, Janelle did say in one of her exit interviews, I don't think Danny and I will be friends after this season.
And she was like, well, but if Danny wins, I'll be very, very happy for her.
She needs some money.
She doesn't have a lot going on career-wise right now. I'm sure she does. And it's like, yes! I'm really curious about the whole, like, rumors of, like, the pre-game alliances that were supposedly formed or whatever.
Janelle said the only person she had a preseason alliance with was Danny.
Wow, really?
Yep. And all I can get from all of the other tweets from like Evil Dick and fans is that Derek and Dan, whether they were supposed to be in this season or not, created preseason alliances, coaching Cody and Memphis on like what to do and who to align with.
Well, should we just sort of like quickly go through the week? I feel like we've hit on most things. Is there anything, I guess, from the episodes or Veto on Wednesday night?
I will say this about the Veto competition this week. I really didn't like it. I just thought it was kind of lazy. And honestly, I haven't liked any of the competitions. And I wonder if that's a factor of COVID, where they just can't get as many like exciting props or like a type of like games they would normally do. They're all very childish, like, and they also are very low stakes and simple, especially the HOH competitions.
Horrible, yeah.
The veto one, like, I would have loved this veto and they to have been, what would you do for the veto? I will shake
Yes.
my head.
Why don't they do that anymore?
Yeah,
I will take slop for 5 weeks. I will not win HOH for 3 weeks. Like, actually put some stakes in there.
Yes, I will shave my head. I'll dye myself blue. Like,
actually, you know what, Julie?
Chum bucket and all that.
I'm going to take the 5,000 and, really make these people step up for their alliances and show who's who. None of it is doing anything. It's just competition, rearranging ice cream cones.
Oh my God, the whole, like, hold the ball. Like, what? That's the competition. And also that favors men because it's all about upper body strength. I hated that competition.
Yeah,
but, like,
that competition was garbage.
But yeah, the thing is, like, I think it's absolutely COVID related. They can't do the big setups anymore. But also the older seasons, they had competitions that were literally just like the only props were a piece of paper, and you had to, like, but they were more mental and they were more personality driven.
Yes,
and more like people had more control. Like, they were more interesting. And now it's just like rearrange some ice cream cones. It's like no. If you're gonna have a cheap competition, make it a competition that's interesting and reveals character. Like,
the button in season 6, holding the button down. I mean, like, that.
I heard
that was
they'll
a
never
20.
do that again.
Why?
I think it's because because it lasted so long, they didn't have it was a scramble for editing purposes. Like I think production.
It was like 24 hours or something like that. Crazy.
15 hours.
Yeah.
I just want some stakes, especially for all stars. Every competition should be something really big, and also, I guess they can't, but like bring in some video messages from past players, being like, "Hey, all stars, like, this week you're going to have to be doing this or that." Like, it's a very basic Big Brother formula with some propped up people being called all stars, or as James Ryan and Danielle Reyes have been saying, small stars.
Oh, their podcast is so good. I was listening to their podcast yesterday, and just listening to all of them talk. Well, Danielle Reyes is my favorite player in Big Brother history. But listening to all of them talk, you're just like, they don't have like these smart like, they don't have the people who really understand like social patterns and stuff like that.
I spent all last night and this morning recasting this season, and
you were crunching names.
I just feel like I found a good configuration. There are a couple people I think, maybe you guys would argue to swap out, but even though in our first pod or in our second pod when we were talking about, overall being fairly happy with the all-star cast, and I take it all back, like, except for 4 people.
I was surprised by this. I liked this all-star cast when it was announced, because I was anticipating like very predictable people, like Paul again, Derek, like like Josh, who, like, Josh is chaotic and like good TV, but like his chaos is a little like predictable to me. Like they were like, oh, Casey's coming back, and I'm like, I liked Casey. I thought she was a very fine. I'm sure she's a lovely person, but like, do we need her back on an All Stars? Like, no. Like, but so I was surprised that there was like Keisha, but it's just been such a dud.
Praz, I would love to hear who you would cast.
Okay. I'll try to go really quick because it's 16 people. So the 4 that I kept from this season, and maybe now that we've talked about Danny, I would also throw her in, but I took her out because I'm just so upset with her right now. But I kept Janelle and Kaser, of course, even though I know, like, my husband was trying to say get Kaser out of there, but I'm like, no, he must stay. And I kept Davon and Ian as well, just because I think Ian's so smart, and I just think, a totally different personality type than most people in the house. And Davon, I really am rooting for her 3rd time playing. And I do feel like she's smart. And if she could just like get aligned with the right people or win some comps, like, she would, be able to go a bit further than she has in the past. But the other 12 people, and so I don't know if there's going to be any controversy, but these are just my opinions.
We'll kick you out if we don't agree.
Rachel Riley first, of course. I don't care that she's pregnant, but like maybe next time they do this,
It would be
she
interesting
can't
if
be
he was
pregnant.
pregnant. I still stand by
I know.
that.
Okay, and I know you just mentioned him, Matt, but I did put Josh Martinez in my all-star cast just because it was he was pure chaos, and I really, even though I found him so annoying and frustrating, like it was such a joyful moment when he beat Paul in the final
Yeah.
two. Like it was just,
Iconic.
yeah. So I had to bring him back. I have 4 winners on my cast as opposed to just 2 this season. And speaking of chaotic and a former winner, I did put Evil Dick. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Jill. I put
Yeah.
Evil Dick on my cast.
He should be there.
Yes. And so to me, like I would swap Danny out for Evil Dick. Another iconic player that I have in my cast is Brittany.
Yep.
And then I have Jen, also from Dick's season. Jen
Love
Wilson.
Yes.
I
Jen,
love
she'll
her.
She'll
never come back.
I want
I
some
have a-
female like comp beasts in
I have
my
a
cast.
signed slop pass from her because I loved her so much, and Evil Dick just really went in on her. Poor thing.
Jen is one of the best casting decisions the show's ever made.
Yeah.
Genius.
She was so funny. And I have a soft spot for season 8 because it's the first, even though I love season 6 like the most after going back and watching all of them. But season 8 was the first one. Like when Nick moved to LA, he got me into Big Brother. And so that's the first one that I watched live.
Season 8 was great. Season 8 was fun.
Yeah. So then throwing in some other, I think, great players who maybe have been overlooked. Helen from BB15.
Yes.
I thought
Helen.
she was so sharp and I can't exactly remember what happened. I'm sure Matt, you remember everything that happened, but I just felt like, oh, she got screwed and she was so smart and I would just love to see her try to play again.
Helen was excellent on season 15 because that cast was so volatile and they hated each other so much. But Helen was like, everyone in that cast was just screaming at each other, and Helen was just in the middle of all them being like, "Oh, guys, isn't this so much fun?" And they'd be like, "Shut up, Helen."
Has anybody seen my new red hat?
Like exactly that, like Helen Haley energy from A League of Their Own. Like absolutely.
And then okay, so let me go through the rest of mine. I put Natalie from, was she BB 18
11?
or whatever?
No,
not that Natalie. Natalie who goes on the challenge now.
Yeah.
Oh, that Natalie?
Okay. The reason why is because she was fairly good at competitions, even though she's so like teeny tiny, and she's just like that. You need to have like that bubbly personality. Like you need to have one.
Yeah.
No, you know who was the true agent of chaos of BB18? It was Big Meech.
Oh yeah, not a fan, but
put her in instead of Natalie.
Yeah, Big Meech was she hates Nicole.
Yeah, that's true.
Amazing.
I think Natalie's a good pick too, though. She's super cute, and I'd like to see her play without, showmancing it up.
I did also put James, James in Hewling or whatever. Yes, into my all-star cast because I don't know why. I just remember him being a fun personality. He brings like that country flavor without it being like as predictable like Donnie or Beast Mode Cowboy or whoever.
No, James I think was really fun in season 17, but then season 18 he sort of became a little self-aware of how cute and like fun he was, and so it was just a little like, okay, James.
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
When he came back, he was a big disappointment. But Evil Dick recently tweeted, he was like, very rarely do fan favorites come back or anybody come back and flip their public perception to be positive. Like he's like, when James, the only person who came back that flipped to positive was Rachel Riley.
Yeah, what she did was incredible. Like,
yeah.
Well, rounding out my 16, I put in, well, I guess you'll be happy, Matt. I put Danielle Reyes in my all-star cast. And then I also put Marcellus because I thought he brought a fun flavor. Also just a funny history of his veto flub. And just like, I thought a fun personality to have in the house. I was trying to be diverse with my age like ranges as well, because I feel like I'm not going to put like a Jerry in my all stars, but I
Right.
definitely don't want all 25-year-olds.
Oh no! We want Rennie Martin back. Like we want Rennie back.
I completely forgot her. I might have to redo it, but
Rennie would be on my pick 100%.
Yeah, Nick loves Rennie.
I danced with her.
I did put Dan Giesling in my all-star cast. And then to round it out, and I don't want you guys to hate me, but I went for Mr. Pectacular, Jesse.
Yes, Jesse.
Because honestly, like looking back on these last several seasons where it's like these like bro dudes running the house, I would take Jesse over all of them, because Jesse actually, I think, played the game, and yes, he was like a cop beast, but he also had alliances, and he got in fights, and he was a personality. He's not just like Cody, who's like, oh, I'm good at everything, or Tyler, I'm just good at everything. I'm naturally good at everything, and no personality.
And I'm likable. Well, I like, that's the thing. If there are alpha males in there, I want them to be characters. Like I want them to be a Jesse. I want them to be a Paulie, who was just such a great villain. That, like, the downfall of Paulie was amazing. Like I want it to be like a Russell, who's just like a hothead.
Russell,
Well, I think we should try to talk about maybe Thursday night's episode, because there was a lot of, there were some good moments, and I think we should give Janelle her proper, goodbye.
Okay.
We were just trying to put it off because we don't want it to be true.
I know, everyone. I know. I just, this has been wonderful, but we should give our
Well, let's just say right off the bat, she looked amazing.
Incredible. Oh my God.
All three of her looked great. I mean, somehow she looks better today than she did 15 years ago. So good on her. It was nice to see her campaigning. It was actually really great to see her campaigning. I just wish she had done it a little sooner, maybe before the veto was used. I also, here's the thing. I love Janelle, but I can also spot really big faults in her game this season, specifically not trying to work with Tyler like she said she wanted to. Like, had she approached any of those people, I'm sure some of them maybe would have wanted to work with her. And I think she played a little too personal with all the Nicole stuff. So I think like she just was way too focused on Nicole, way too focused on trying to keep Kaser safe, because he can't really do anything. And of course, she walked in with like the biggest target on her. So there's really no reversing that. It was crushing to see her like have to wear the mask and like have her little exit interview. And it's really sad. Like just seeing her play brings back like this era of Big Brother. It brings back this like specific moment in my life in 2005 that was just wonderful. So it's like, it's very nostalgic, and it's sad to see her go, but I am excited to like see what she has to say about the season.
I'm excited to see how Kaser does without her. Like, no one's ever seen that. And I'd like, the one shining light about Janelle being gone is that maybe Kaser, I say maybe because Lord knows it's probably not going to happen, but I say maybe like Kaser can have his moment to shine, because he's never really had his moment to shine.
Yeah.
And everyone loves him so much because he's, Kaser, he's King Kaser. And so I hopefully he lasts at least like a few more weeks and like just has a little bit of moments of glory. I think Janelle just was a dead woman walking from the second she walked in, because this cast is just so unwilling to budge on anything. So I think she played better this season than she played in season 14.
I do have to bring up Janelle's impact. So, I mean, obviously, we know people are listening to the pod. The producers must be listening, because they did a whole segment on one of her skincare products.
Yeah.
But even more interesting, me and Praz both own that face mask. It's the Ordinary.
Oh, does it work? I've just bought it.
It's a lovely product. I mean, it is a little bit spicy. You can only keep it on for 10 minutes at maximum. And I thought it was really funny, like Ian chiming in with like the pH levels and like.
Well, now that we all have her facial peel, if we all pitch in, her dress that she wore on Thursday is on sale. It's originally marked as $1,485.
Oh my
Um,
god.
could you imagine bringing a $1,500 dress, like crumpled, like folded in a Big Brother bag, like in the Big Brother house? Only she could do that. Iconic. But the dress is on sale.
She left a ton of her clothes for Bailey and Davon to wear.
No,
Yeah.
she was so sweet this season. Like she like gave people her clothes. She gave people
Nicole
her
use
skin
her
on.
fancy, like so sweet and generous. I thought.
And
Yeah,
when
you're-
Davon was picking out like dresses to wear, Davon was like, "I'm not going to be able to wear this," and Janelle was like, "Wear it on finale night when you're in the final two."
Aw.
Like,
yeah. Like Janelle, you think of Janelle and you're just like, oh, comp beast. She's sassy. She's petty. She's like what you want in a reality show star and everything. And then season 14, she was a little like ice queenie.
yeah,
Like like a little soulless, which was also kind of fun. But like here, now that her kids are older and she's been a mom for several years, like you really saw like Janelle's like a sweet woman who like is caring and kind, and it's like this
Mhm.
is such a different side of Janelle. That,
yeah.
like,
She said in one of her exit interviews, she's like, "I could have gone into Nicole, but she's like, you know what? I'm a mother of 3. I'm not going to do that."
yeah,
And she also like urged us all to be very nice to Nicole A. and like don't bully her on Twitter and stuff, which I thought was really sweet.
Ugh,
Like,
even though I am running another
Yeah.
campaign.
I am empathetic, very empathetic towards Nicole. Like it can't be easy in that house. Like when you don't know what to believe. But yeah, Janelle's dress is on sale for $889.
Who makes the dress, Matt?
Alexandra Valtier,
Okay. Just
Vauthier.
to get into my weekly segment of my thoughts on Julie. I'll give her this. It's not a huge compliment, but it's the best I can give. I think this is the best so far.
yeah.
I didn't
It was
hate
fine.
it. It was fine. Her hair, gotta say, hair looked great. I thought it looked really voluminous and silky, and I really liked that. And I liked like the Miu Miu vibe shoes. Too much necklace stuff going on again. But maybe we're getting there, Julie. Maybe we're getting there.
Was she wearing any like crucifixes?
Yeah, she wore her
I think
double
it's always the double cross. Yeah.
Double cross.
cross, baby.
I did like her reaction to Danny voting out Kaser.
Yeah.
Because it just got me really excited.
Well,
I was like,
Oh my god.
at that moment, I was like, oh my God, it's happening. They're flipping. They're flipping.
I
was
said
like-
it to John. I was like, wait, what? Because Enzo did it too. I was like, wait, what?
Yup. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. And like, of course, we were all watching at different times. So I was just like, I've seen the votes. And I was like, this is it. Like the producers heard our call. They knew that they couldn't blatantly rig a challenge. I was like doing the math. I was like, it's going to be a tie and Tyler's going to vote out Kaser. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was
Apparently she like pulled people in all in a room together and was just like, listen, fuckers.
I was hoping she would have done that because the problem was all week long she was campaigning, but it would just everyone would say, yeah, I'll vote for you if you get a majority. I'll vote for you if you get a majority. And it's like, that's worthless. So it's like you did need to get almost like 4 or 5 or more people in a room all together saying like, yes, I'll do it, because it's not going to happen otherwise.
Yeah, I really wanted Janelle to like call everyone out and just be like, all you new players suck. Like you are all bad, and this is pathetic. Like let me teach you how to do this.
Yeah.
And Memphis would have just sat there and just been like, oh, I don't know nothing. I actually quite like Memphis this season.
I do not.
Oh.
I think he's a great villain type character like Danny. I think he is playing a game that they'll probably get him at some point. But for now, I'm kind of just like, oh, he's doing a different job than like everyone else is doing. Like his strategy is very different from everyone else's.
Yeah.
I was not a huge Memphis fan on season 10, but this season I'm just like, might as well root for him because I'm not rooting for like who am I gonna root for?
I know, it's like I'm kind of just rooting for Kaser or like Ian or Davon at this point.
Yeah.
I don't like.
I keep forgetting Ian's there.
I think he's doing well. I'm excited.
He's doing really well. Yeah.
His comment when Christmas was like, I'm cooking, and he's like, what are you making? Was hysterical.
Just speaking of Nicole, I mean, the goodbye message was nothing. It was like sweet at first, and then she drops in the line about the wedding. I thought it was.
She re-recorded.
Yeah, she recorded it.
I actually thought her line was funny. Like, I know you probably don't want to come to my wedding, so don't worry about it. Janelle, in all her post interviews, were like, I was never going to the wedding. I have a cheer competition with my daughter that weekend. Like, she's like, but of course I'm sending them a gift. Like,
yeah, iconic.
apparently Nicole recorded something that she thinks was maybe too mean, and she was telling Danny all about it, because this is the same conversation they were having when Danny was telling them about her goodbye message. And she's like, I don't know, I think mine was too mean, guys. And like, they were like, Danny was like, well, did you give her a compliment? She's like, yeah, I said I wanted to play with you, but you didn't want to play with me. And they were like, that's not a compliment. You need to be like, Janelle, you're a legend in this game, however. And like, so then she went and did it. She said that they had to do it 3 times.
I just wish it was like, just say, I don't like you. I had to get you out. You're a threat. Don't come to my wedding. Like, I just wish everyone would own something.
And you know that's been one of my biggest issues is people don't own up. They're not like, you know what, Janelle, you're campaigning. You're wasting your time right now because you are Big Brother, and this is All Stars, and I need to get out the biggest star. Nobody would say that. They were like, oh, well, you'll be good with me if you can get 5 more votes. Like, no, I can't respect that type of gameplay. It's boring as a viewer, and it's just not intriguing.
Well, and the problem is they were just like, oh, we need to get her out. She's a legend. But these people don't know why she's a legend.
Yeah.
Like they've never seen her seasons. And if they did see her seasons, they would know, like, oh, she's like, because they were all accusing her of being shady and sneaky and lying. And if you watch Janelle in any of her seasons, like, that's not how she does it. Like, she is known for being just like a very loyal, and she's known for being a fighter. Like, that's why people rooted for her.
Yeah.
Like, she's not a Dan Giesling. She is a Janelle.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the best burn goodbye message, which I know they probably either wouldn't play it or wouldn't let you do, is I would have just been like, bye, Janelle. Like, and that's it. Like, don't give her the satisfaction of even being like, I'm just inviting you to my wedding or whatever. Like, because Janelle gave the best burn back, I think, by just like not even reacting. Like, she was like, next,
not
like,
reacting to any of that.
Yeah. No, Janelle respects gameplay. That's the thing. Like you said earlier, I think it was you, Nick, like in post interview, she's like, yeah, Memphis, you got me. Like, she recognized game, and she like, yeah, good on you.
The fact that she is friends with, the friendship from season 6 in real life, like, is a testament to the fact that she acknowledges, and these old players acknowledge, like, it's a TV show, like, it's a game, and we were all playing with each other, like, this wasn't a personal thing,
Well, and that's what I agree with you, Matt. Like, I don't love Memphis this season. I've definitely been frustrated with him from time to time. But I agree, like, he's just like, guys, it's a game. Like when people were giving him so much shit for nominating David, and he's like, I got to nominate 2 people, like, every week. He's a rookie. Like, why wouldn't I nominate him? Like, I won HOH, and I have to nominate 2 people. Like, what am I supposed to do? And it's like, it's kind of funny because the gameplay has gone down like so much in recent seasons, even though like some might say like the game is completely different and the comps are so much harder and all this stuff. It's like, and when you get back to like the basics of Big Brother, like these older players, I think, just get it a lot better.
Oh yeah.
And they're able to look at things more objectively, they're able to, because they also come from when reality television, when reality competitions started. So like they understand like the base, like the roots of what these shows are all about.
Exactly.
So yeah, and I mean, the thing with Memphis's nominations is it's kind of like he kind of did. I understand what he was trying to do because he was in this one alliance, but he was also in good with Janelle and Kaser. So he was trying to, do it so both sides were still going after each other and he would walk away unscathed. I mean, it did make him suspicious to his other alliance, but, I understand what he was trying to do with those nominations.
Yeah.
So this week, Danny was trying to get Cody to team up with her to vote for Kaser, to vote out Kaser so that they could frame it on Davon and Bailey. And Cody was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But then for some reason, Enzo did that too without talking to Danny.
So does Cody and the rest of the alliance think that Danny, or like know that Danny did that then?
I know that they are kind of suspecting Danny to be one of the ones, but they're not like confirmed. Like they're not.
Yeah, Cody kind of suspects Danny, but like doesn't know who the second one would be.
Well, we're really sad to see Janelle go. We're gonna miss her, but we're gonna love her, and we're gonna now campaign for fan favorite, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do much campaigning. I think it's a done deal at this point.
I hope
Which
so.
is, and she would be the first pre-jury member to win America's Favorite.
Oh, really?
Come on.
Welcome to Crunching Numbers, our weekly segment where we take on a mental challenge of our own.
Well, guys, I crunched a few numbers for you all this week. And excited to have Matt as also a participant in this. And listen, you guys might know all this information, but I didn't know it. And so, like, let's just have a little fun here, okay?
Okay, I'm excited.
All right.
So I don't know what got me thinking. Maybe it's recent casting, Janelle, how much people love her, whatever. I was like, who are the most popular players from this season on social media? So then I was like, let me just go through, and I have full lists of follower accounts for all of them on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay.
All right.
But let's start with Instagram.
Okay.
So I don't know. The person who is the most followed surprised me personally. So I'm interested to know what you guys think.
I'm going to say Cody.
I'm going to say Bailey.
I'm going to say Nicole A. or Tyler.
Well, guys, get in the spirit. The Christmas spirit.
Oh, God. That's true. She was an influencer before she was cast.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, she did all the gym workouts.
Yeah. So she comes in at number 1 with 690,000 followers. The second one doesn't really surprise me. None of you have said her so far.
Nicole F.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's been like that's her career now.
Right.
So.
Yeah, she's no longer a nurse.
There's like a 300,000 follower dip to the next duo. You guys have mentioned both of these. I'll just give you a hint. Men.
Cody.
Yep, he's one of them.
Tyler.
Yep, exactly. So the way that I was like seeing these, it makes sense because these more recent cast types are like came up more in the world of Instagram, and they probably recruited off there. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But Bailey's a model. I thought she'd be up higher.
So, okay. Well, good segue. She's number 5.
Okay.
178,000. I think that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll just quickly run through some and then we'll get to the bottom. But then we have Nicole Anthony with 151,000, then Davon 137,000. Then we got our girl Janelle, still pretty good, 136,000.
The only person I still follow from any reality show is her.
You know, the next 3 are not that interesting to me. It goes Danny, then David, then Kesar. But we're getting into low follower accounts at this point. Like Danny only has 52,000, David has 42,000, Kesar has 23,000.
Ian isn't up there higher?
All right. Well, next we have Ian. He has 11,000. But I do want to point out that Ian only has 3 pictures on his Instagram.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as someone who like posts a lot.
So the bottom 3, I mean, RIP, Keisha, Enzo, and I know this will make Nick happy, but the lowest followed house guest is Kevin.
Yes!
Kevin has 2,892 followers.
Oh, the poor thing. Is it just him?
That was why I was so surprised that Kevin was brought back. Like he was a very a fun surprise for me when the cast was announced, and I was like, oh wow, this is a really surprising choice. I'm really into this. And then it just turned into what it turned into.
Well, just a quick number that I also was intrigued by. Who is the Big Brother alum with the most Instagram followers of any season?
Big Brother alum with the most Instagram followers.
Like once you hear it, you'll be like, oh, duh.
Oh God, is it Frankie?
It's Frankie.
Oh, duh.
Right, exactly. That was exactly my response. So he has 2.1 million followers.
It's like any relative of a mega celebrity. Like,
Well, and
That's
she's
not
like,
fair.
she's on a different level. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to go through all the Twitter numbers. I just want to give a shout out to the number one followed Twitter, account of the house guest this year. Do you guys want to take any guesses?
Ian?
I feel like Davon tweets the most.
Well, I'm happy to say that the number one followed house guest on Twitter is Janelle.
Wow.
Oh.
Well, you want to know something cute about Janelle's Twitter?
Yeah.
She follows me.
Wow.
Janelle followed me once because did some sort of thing where it's like the first 10 people who retweet this will get a follow, and so of course I did it, and she followed me, and then literally the next day I checked and she didn't follow me anymore. They had a whole conversation on the feeds about how they all hate Twitter because Instagram you can make money and Twitter you can't. They're like, Twitter you can't make any money, and it's just like, you noobs.
They got a
And
point.
Janelle's like, how about you sell a house and make some money?
Yeah. Yes. Kaser's like, how about you all get like real jobs in tech
and make some sales.
Yeah, and then I'm sure Tyler would be like, oh, well, I'm a jewelry designer.
Oh, God.
All right. Well, that was just a little fun I wanted to have with social media this week.
Well, thanks for crunching those numbers.
Always.
Well, I'm excited to see what numbers we all crunch next week. All right. Do you want me to say it?
Mm-hmm. Always.
Spoiler zone.
We saw the beginning of the HOH competition on Thursday.
Another dumb HOH competition.
It was confusing. I'm like, they're doing this in heats. Why? Like, why couldn't they have built something that just it could have played out live with all however many are left?
I just think it's so unfair to break it up into 6 people and then just say similar to what they did with the veto competition, like where it's like, bracket style.
The thing is with this HOH competition, I usually kind of this was kind of a very crapshoot HOH competition. And I usually kind of like those because that gives a bigger chance for like a more random person to win, like not like a physical threat, like it gives the chance for, a total rando to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it turns out that like a relatively physical person did win.
Enzo won HOH, which is, it's interesting because
Call him his real name. His real name is Vincenzo.
Yeah. Spoiler on spoiler. We found out his real name is Vincenzo.
That guy from New Jersey.
Out of that alliance, I was like, oh, okay. But I really didn't want anybody in that alliance to win HOH this week because it's so boring. Yesterday were the noms, and he nominated Kaser and Kevin, 2 big threats in the house.
So are they using Kaser as a pawn, or we don't know?
Nope. They want, like, as of right now, so the veto competition is happening right now. Okay. They're like, all right, Kaser's going, blah, blah, blah. And like Kevin's like, I'm going to fight like hell to win this veto. I think obviously anything can happen. And like they might, if let's say like Enzo wins veto, I could see them being maybe like, all right, we're taking Kevin down and putting David up or something, like, and just getting him out because nobody wants to be stuck in the jury house with David. Enzo, if you're going to do anything, like make a move, put up Davon.
He's so annoying to watch with because now he's leading the conversations and they're like, he's just like, yo, I don't know, bro. Yo, it's like, I said this. It's like, we're just going to play. We're going to see. It's like, I'm cool with you. You're cool with me, bro. I don't know. It's like, we're just playing, It's like, he says nothing, actually. I will listen sometimes and I'm like, he's talking. What is he saying? Nothing's being said. I don't understand. Like, he's just saying, yo, I don't know, bro, like constantly. He's like, that's what, and then he goes, that's what I'm saying. And I'm like, what did you say? I don't know what you just said. Like, it's like he agrees with everyone and then we'll be like, yo, I don't know, bro.
And his reasoning for like putting up Kaser is just like, he's never talked game to me. He's never talked game to me like all these weeks. And it's just like, so like, is he a threat to you? Like, I don't know. Like I find it interesting though that so far he's won the most competitions out of anyone.
That's what he said. He's like, this next one, it's like, I can't win this veto. He's saying, he's like, because that'll be 4 comps. I can't win 4 comps. Like, that's too much. That's too much. So he's like basically throwing it to his team, saying like, you guys got to win.
Nick, what are your witchy predictions on who's going home?
I just want to say, I think there's a small chance that Enzo could try to backdoor Ian or Memphis this week.
Yeah.
I could
I'm
see
just
that
going to put that out there because he's very upset about Memphis throwing the veto comp, trying to throw it at least.
Even though he didn't try, even though he didn't.
Yeah. But he, they were like, he was going so slow. He had that one cupcake he could have been done and all this stuff. So he's upset about that. And he's thrown Ian's name out a couple times, just kind of as like, we got to get him out of there, out of here and stuff. So I think there's a chance that could happen. But I need to know what the witch thinks.
I would love to see any type of shakeup. I'm so disillusioned that my witch powers are now just like, well, we're giving up. It's Kaser. I think David will go home.
Ooh,
interesting. I'm fine with that, honestly.
Yeah, totally fine.
It's time. It's time.
David, it's just so. I mean, if you're gonna bring a first day evictee back, come on, guys. Jody has been through so much, and everyone wants Jody back. Because everyone can acknowledge, even the most heartless of heartless people on social media are just like, give Jody another chance.
Yes,
especially because Jody seems so darling and lovely.
Yeah, love Jody, and it would have been fun to see her actually get to play with Ian and Janelle, who were both on that season, and maybe they could. I don't know.
Janelle would have a Gwyneth Paltrow moment and be like, I was on Big Brother with her?
Oh my God, you're so right.
If something does not shake up this week, it's like, oh my God. If Kaser goes home, you know what? At least he gets to go home and hang out with his kid and
before jury.
New Twitter followers. The show doesn't even deserve him at this point. Although I would like him to do something. Otherwise, has no he's just kind of living off of a move he made 15 years ago.
But what a move it was! It was the move that made it all happen.
Matt, no, I sealed your partner's fate. I caught the bigger fish.
Oh my God! Nothing gets me wetter. Hearing, watching Kaser's stone face say, "I sealed your partner's fate," and Maggie, who I think Maggie was a brilliant player, but and just walking around being like, genius, and just amazing, and we're just like, yeah, it is.
I think that Jill obviously has some homework. She needs to watch season 6. We've told her multiple times.
Jill, you've never seen season 6?
No, guys, listen. And I'm even watching Love Island this year, so I have no one to blame.
You need to watch season 6.
Love Island. Today, David said, "Oh, I was hoping I was going to be on Love Island this summer."
Evict him. Get him out. Get him out.
Since last week, I've been watching so many clips of Janelle and Brittany as a duo on Amazing Race that season, and I just feel like I have to watch that season of Amazing Race. It just seems so fun and funny, and it feels like it'll give me my little it's Rachel, Brittany, and Janelle, all who I put on my all-star cast in one season of Amazing Race.
If there's a Big Brother rewatch that I have to do, because I've rewatched a bunch of seasons. I've seen season 6 3 times, or I think I started rewatching it a 4th time, and then I was like, I already know this season by heart. What am I doing? But a season of Big Brother I need to rewatch is season 9.
Oh,
ew!
I need to rewatch it because what? Yeah. What a disaster. What a great, joyous disaster.
It was. I met Parker from season 9 once in the mall because he stopped me to
photographer.
He was working in casting on a reality show. He was trying to cast women who need makeovers, and he stopped me. Yes, he was trying to get me to audition for this show that needed I guess fugly women, and I was like,
oh my God.
And the time I'm talking to him, I'm like, oh my God, he was on Big Brother, and I just was like, hi. I was like, okay, it's like, you were on Big Brother, right? And he's like, oh my God, yes, you remember me, and we talked, and so I of course gave him my number, and he kept calling me, trying to get me to be on this show, and I was like,
wow.
No.
You know who I do miss from season 9? Chelsea.
Oh, what a very modern
hair.
That hair, her hair was just perfect for season 9. Like, when I think of season 9, I think of Chelsea's hair.
Yes.
Like, I think of Natalie squirting her breast milk at everyone.
Ew.
I think of 2 people almost dying on the same night.
What a mess that season was.
Well, Janelle is gone but not forgotten, of course.
No.
So she lives on. She lives on in my heart.
But we've been here before. This is the 4th time we've had our hearts broken.
True.
And we've persevered. We've risen above. The legacy will always live on. She at least gave us iconic visuals for this season. Like, I mean, just the image of her with the Louboutin shoes, dressed as her little star, like, is an iconic Big Brother image that will last forever.
Well, thank you so much, Matt, for being on the pod this week. This was so wonderful.
Oh my gosh, Matt,
This
I
was
love
so
it.
wonderful. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm such a fan. Like, I listen to you guys. I've listened to all your podcasts this year, and I'm just like, oh, they're so good. I want to talk with them.
So, Matt, remind our listeners again where they can find you and what you're up to.
So you can find me on social media on both Twitter and Instagram at It's Matt Steele. So ITS Matt Steele, MATTSTEELE. And you can also find my YouTube channel and podcast, which is called Two Gay Mats, TWO. And you can also, if you would like to watch me play, not myself, you can check out Devo's the movie, which is available on all streaming platforms where you can rent or buy movies. So iTunes, Amazon, YouTube Movies, Vudu, all those fun things. If you want to see a movie about bitchy boys in their high school musical. So yeah, that's where I am.
Awesome. This was so fun to have a fellow BB fan on the pod.
A true super fan.
The honor's mine. I'm glad we could all mourn together, hold each other's hands, stroke each other's hair, tell each other that it's going to be okay.
Jill, is there a final note you'd like to send us out on?
Just remember, be kind.
3 miles down the street from the Big Brother house, I'm Nick.
I'm Praz.
I'm Jill.
And I'm Matt.
Good night.
Dun, dun,
Ryan.